Hi everyone, so welcome to our webinar where we try to answer to this very challenging question, how to build a profitable marketplace. I suggest we take 30 seconds to wait for the latecomers and then we're gonna start. Okay, so we can skip to the other slide. Let's do a technical check to be sure that all attendees can see and hear us. Okay, so if so or if not, please use the toolbar of the webinar tool to inform us if you can hear us or not. If not, we'll try to fix up the issue. Okay, so it seems to be okay. So we can start and launch officially the webinar. So I'm Alexandre AMIOT, head of Alliance within Marjory, which is an automation software provider for e-commerce and marketplace. I'm very pleased to welcome to this webinar Cédric and François. So Cédric, could you give a brief introduction of you and your company?
Yeah, hello everyone. Thanks to attend this webinar. My name is indeed Cédric NEVE. I'm the CEO and founder of Digiteal. And Digiteal is a payment institution. We help companies get paid faster, more regularly, and at a lower cost. And of course, we have a marketplace solution that we will be briefly presenting today too. François?
Hi everybody, welcome. And I'm François GAUTIer. I'm CEO and founder of Classeo. And we are a marketplace for school photography in France.
So thank you, François. Thank you, Cédric. Your testimonies will be very interesting for all our attendees. So let's browse through the agenda. At first, we will define, even if maybe it will be redundant for some of you, what is a marketplace. And Classeo, the case study will follow up, will introduce their business. Then we will try to identify what are the marketplace profitability challenges. Then we will get the interesting feedback from Classeo and Digiteal to understand how do they manage all the profitability issues of the marketplace. Then at the end, we will make a quick wrap up and we'll try to answer to your questions. So alongside the presentation, you can click on the question button in order to ask your questions. So don't hesitate to ask any question once you have a question in mind, okay? So what is a marketplace? A quick reminder, if you can skip to the other slide, okay? So I don't want to be too redundant as I explained, but you have to have in mind that marketplace is made of 3 pillars. So the first one is marketplace is a business model. Comparing with e-commerce, so you will welcome many sellers, so it's a multi-sellers approach, and you will connect sellers and buyers through your marketplace. The business model will be mainly based, will be mainly based on a commission fee that you're gonna take on the sales revenue generated on your marketplace. So you have to have in mind that in a marketplace, the commission is the revenues, and you will be able also to add alongside the life cycle of your marketplace paid service. The second pillar is the operator. So you will be the operator as an enterprise, an organization, government. You will be the operator, the trusted third party, and you will have to offer to your seller and your buyer the ability to make business. So you, as a marketplace operator, you will make the business happen between the sellers and the buyers. So this is something very important. So you act as a trusted third party. And the third pillar is the technology stack and platform. Sometimes when we are discussing with our partners and customers, especially when they want to launch a marketplace, they discover that marketplace is not only an all-in-one solution you are going to launch. It's made of a combination of several software. You've got a front page, then you've got all what is related to the middle office, where your buyers and your sellers will manage their orders. And you have, as an operator, the back office, where you will be able to manage all the events related to what's happening in your marketplace. So it's not in plus. You have to add, and Cédric from Digiteal will explain that later on. You have to add a PSP, a payment service provider, and probably other third-party services if you want, for example, to offer fulfillment to your vendor. So have in mind those three components when you try to define what a marketplace is. To make things more concrete, maybe François, you can explain or give a quick overview of Classeo Marketplace to our attendees.
Yes, thank you, Alexandre. So since 2016, we offer to French photographers the service of online payment for school photography. So the idea is the school is going to sell the pictures through our platform, and with the help of the photographer, and the commission is transferred to the photographer and the Classeo. The school is also getting, of course, a share of the sales. And the marketplace was really essential because of the legal and financial complexity of the business.
Okay, so thank you. So we will leverage Classeo as a case study alongside the presentation. So if we try to think to the main profitability challenge a marketplace have to take, let's first define what's behind the word profitability and profitable. So if we refer to the Cambridge Dictionary, you have to have in mind two things when you think to profitability. First, the fact to make a profit. Of course, what you expect from a marketplace project is a financial gain. So you, especially as it is written, the difference between the amount earned and the amount spent in building and running the marketplace. So this is the first part of what do we intend by profitability. On the second hand, when we talk about profitability, we're talking about the advantage, competitive advantage you are going to take on the market through the launch of your marketplace. If you are the first to launch the marketplace in a business, you will take a competitive advantage versus your competitors. And you will create a lot of value for your stakeholders, for your sellers, for your buyers, and also for your employees. So if we skip to the other slide, what are the main marketplace profitability challenge? And François will come on those marketplace profitability challenge later on. Let's assuming that you have in mind a solid concept of the marketplace you want to launch, and as well a stable business plan, on a realistic business plan. So you have to pay attention to three things. You have to lower marketplace TCO. TCO is an acronym for total cost of ownership. Lots of our customers who launch a marketplace sometimes underestimate all the cost of their marketplace project. So they have to pay, of course, software to implement their marketplace. If they launch a marketplace in existing legacy, they have to pay integrators, system integrators. They have to hire new people to make their new business happen. So all those costs have to take into account on you as a marketplace operator. You have to lower them as much as possible. Secondly, you have to accelerate your time to market. So we are in a very competitive market. marketplaces are booming up, and you have to be the first to launch the marketplace in your business. So this is very, very important. Otherwise, you risk to be overpassed by competitors. And if you take too many time to launch your marketplace, you will delay the revenue collection. Okay. Third, ensure marketplace scalability. It's very important to be when you launch your marketplace to have a marketplace roadmap in mind. You are not only here to launch a MVP, minimum viable product. You have to have in mind your marketplace in the futures, where you are going to launch your marketplace. How are you going to open it to new seller abroad, for example? How are you going to insert new features to your marketplace? You have to have all that in mind. Okay. So let's try to see how does now Classeo and its partners, mainly Digiteal, try to optimize their marketplace profitability. So we will, with François and Cédric, come through all the 5 steps we identify for a successful marketplace project, from ideation to iteration, and passing through design and building and run of your marketplace. So let's focus on ideation. So when you have the idea of your marketplace, there is something very important, is that you have, it's not because it's the trend is to launch marketplace that you are going to succeed. You have to know your target market at the back of your hand. It's very important. And you have also to be sure that your marketplace, the marketplace you are going to launch, will not answer to pretend business needs, but to tangible ones. So François, could you share a few insights about that with our attendees?
Yes, so at the creation of Classeo, there is 2 founders, myself and my father, who was a photographer for more than 40 years. And so his expertise could really bring in this market knowledge that was needed to start this company. So the idea was really to solve professional problems, and we already had a client with his business when he was still a photographer. So that's already how we managed to solve a real life problem, or we already had the idea of solving those problems.
Okay, so very interesting. So you launched your marketplace in a business you master quite well, and it's not a pretend business needs. So once you are about to launch your marketplace, you have to see and to better understand what are the main business process of the market you want to target, and what are the main business process you want to implement through your marketplace. A marketplace has to be a process-driven project, and you have to pay attention to the way you are going to onboard seller, the way you are going to manage order, of course, the way you are going to pay your customers through the marketplace, the way you are going to manage customer services. And in that context, you also have to be aware of legal aspects. So François, could you share your insight as well about that?
Yes, so in the context of school photography, there is some legal issues that we need to constrain with, and also with the payment. That was very important for us to get it right from the start. And about some of the points you bring on, like seller onboarding, for example, that was not an issue for us to do that manually, and not bringing the technology so early in the process. So we could some of those points we could just do manual process to perform them.
Okay, so very important to have in mind the process you want to target and design those process upstream. And then you have to build your marketplace. So for that, you have to choose the right partners, and you have to answer to the classical question, make or buy. So François, how do you answer to this question, make or buy, when you you are about to choose the right technical partner to launch your marketplace?
So my background is a developer, and so I had a good idea of having some free-to-use software to help me to make the websites. So for example, I use like Ghipster to create the website really fast. But and so also I had to use like AWS for the platform. So it's a paying platform, of course. And uh, some of the decision that I had to make was to make it fast and but not obviously cheap. So for example, PayPal was used for the payment system because it was really fast to implement, and it was the idea, like you said before, to be very fast on the market. So we could be straight away and solve the problem directly, not to wait 2 years before we had those to solve those problems.
Okay, so you choose to make because you want to be the first, as you say, in the market, and it's also because you are a developer and you have the knowledge to make very quickly and develop your marketplace.
I
So
just want to add that I'm sorry, but it's not so much being the first than to be fast on the market. Is not just to be the first. It's also
okay.
to bring your solution to the world, to see if
Yes.
the solution you bring to the problem are really needed by people. Because in the beginning we had a client, but bringing the solutions to the markets very soon, then we could see if we could get clients that would be interested in our services.
Okay, so you have a full MVP approach, waiting for feedback for the first customer of your marketplace.
Yeah.
So once your MVP, François, has been launched, you pay attention to the performance of your marketplace, and you need also to understand what have to be improved, what is working. So how did you proceed in the run phase of the MVP?
Yeah, so here, obviously, all of the decision from the design part and the build phase came into fruition, and basically, it was good idea for us to use the partners that we decided to use in the beginning, because it really helped us to not worry so much about the scalability and to be able to move quickly to if we had to change solutions. And so the idea was to be flexible in this part of the process.
Okay, so from this stage, you understand that you will have to add a new solution, and especially you will have to switch from the first PSP, which was very good for the MVP, to a new one, which will enable you to cover all the process you want, all the payment process, and to address the specificities of the payment process you have with school and photographers. So this is on the, you can switch to the other slide on the adjustment phase. So how do you do to switch from one PSP to another?
Well, actually, switching PSP was quite easy. And in the life of Classeo, we had like 3 PSP, and so the idea was in the beginning to lower the costs, and so there was some discussion with banks about this, but it's not the only the only issue. And what the Digiteal, the last PSP that we've been using, is really solving is also like the how easy it is for the reconciliation, for example, how clear the financial streams are, and so it was really helping us to simplify and help also bring new financial services to our customer.
Okay, so let's thank you, François. Let's focus on this PSP side, which is very important once you launch a marketplace. On when you want to build a profitable marketplace. So Cédric, if you can tell us a few things about that.
Yeah. So as a marketplace, you're collecting funds for third-party funds for the sellers that you have onboarded on your marketplace. the invoices that are being created are invoices of the sellers. You are simply facilitating the relationship between the client and the seller. And by doing so, you cannot collect yourself those funds. This is not allowed. You need to go through a payment service provider that will be able to collect those third-party funds and then being able to redistribute them. So that's the legal aspect of it, which is very different from what we have from a usual e-commerce website. If we can go to the next slide, the usual way this is done for a marketplace is that the customer, the client here, is browsing the marketplace, is finding products or services, whatever the marketplace is selling. So in the case of Classeo, it's a parent that wants to buy school photographies for his kids, and the parent will pay using a few payment methods depending on what is available and what makes sense for him in this marketplace. The funds will then be available, confirmed to be available for the marketplace, and once the service has been fulfilled, those funds will be split between the seller, so here we will see who's the seller, and the marketplace operator. So that's when the marketplace gets its part of the sale. So that's the standard case. But for Classeo, it's a bit different. What they wanted to do was to have campaigns, so 3-week campaigns, for example, where the photographer arrives at the school, takes pictures of all the children, class picture, individual picture, family picture, whatever, all pictures. And then through Classeo, those pictures are sold to the parents. And they wanted to have all of those funds collected. So all the parents pay for the pictures that they want to, the photos that they want to buy, photos or other goods linked to these photographies. And at the end, when all of this campaign is finished, Classeo calculates how the split needs to be done, validates this for payout, and the outgoing streams are single payouts, one part for Classeo, their commission, one part for the school, and a last part for the photographer that obviously did the work. And by doing so, we have a clean process that we were able to provide to Classeo. This comes with a few points of attention. You can imagine that when you're onboarding a seller, an online seller, it can be quite usual for them to go through a know your business, so describing who they are, showing that they are legit, that the company can operate. This is all very well when it's going online. For photographers, I think it's still okay, but onboarding schools can be challenging. They're not used to this, and so there also, I think that we helped a bit Classeo to provide a process where it would be easier for the schools to onboard and yet to finally get the payments that are due to them. So that was for the Know Your Business. Part of the service of Digiteal also includes for B2B marketplaces. So Classeo is a B2C marketplace, but for B2B marketplace, we also provide solutions for buy now, pay later to enable a company to purchase now, but to only pay in 30, 60, or 90 days. This is really a big plus for the marketplace that will, like that, get more orders from companies because they don't have to give the funds in advance. In Classeo, it's not used yet, but evolutions of Classeo could lead to the usage of, well, B2B usage in their case too. And yeah, finally, well, why did Classeo choose Digiteal?
I already explained a little bit the flexibility of the solution, also the clarification of all of the financial streams that were really important because, as you said, with the campaign, it really allows the flow of money to be completely clear. And also, like, when there is a campaign, when the parent is paying, then he's still the owner of the money, even though they are located in an account owned by Digiteal. But it's not the photographer, it's not the Classeo who is having this money on his account. So there is a lot of legal requirements about the handling such amount of money.
Yeah, and finally, for the we talked about the reconciliation. Digiteal operates with gross payouts, so it means that many other payment service providers will deduce their transaction fees from the amounts that are collected and that can be paid out. And this leads to invoices that do not match the payouts that they received. So imagine the photographer would have an invoice that, as we said, of 7,000 euros, but he would receive only 6,500 because the transaction fees would be deduced. So that's not the way we operate. We provide always the gross amount, and we invoice end of month here to the marketplace, so Classeo.
Okay, so from François' testimony, we understand that each marketplace project is unique, and the challenge is to adapt its marketplace stack to your business needs and not the reverse. When we come back to the profitability challenge, which is the title of our webinar, if we make a little step back, so if you want to lower your marketplace TCO, of course you have for that identify all the expenditures related to your project. Do not forget PSP commission. Do not forget any expenditures you will have to add later on. You have to avoid hidden costs. For example, what we experience is that on marketplace projects, which are a new business in a legacy context, sometimes integration costs are underestimated. So you have to have that in mind and to anticipate those costs. And you have also to be able to design and build a very flexible marketplace IT architecture. Concerning the time to market, you have to decide very quickly to launch or not your MVP. We observe too many customers who didn't set any limits, any time limits to their ideation process. You have to put limit to your ideation process. And you have also to create a consensus about your business plan, which is very, very important. And to define your MVP scoping properly. You have to, as François explained, you have to launch your marketplace quite fast to be able to have feedback on the market. For that, you don't need to have a V1. You can have an MVP, but define what you want to put in the MVP. And once it's decided, launch your MVP. To ensure the marketplace scalability, something which is quite neglected by some of our partners and customers is the fact that you have to have in mind a marketplace roadmap. Not only the MVP or the V1, but maybe the V1.1, 1.2, the V2. You have to be able to understand what is your strategy in terms of geography you want to address, in terms of service you want to offer to your sellers or to your buyers. Cédric mentioned previously payment terms. So if you want to offer them payment terms, it has to be anticipated because you need to design the new processes, and you have to choose the right partners to make it happen. So this is very important. And for that, and I will a little bit pray for my parish, you have to rely on an automation tool, automation solution. So if we skip to the last slide, let me tell you a few words about Marjory. So Marjory could be an ideal solution to take your marketplace profitability challenge, because we are a SaaS platform, and we will allow you to connect all the bricks, all the components of your marketplace stack, such as, for example, your back office, your PSP, but also with third-party services or ERP or CRM. So you will be able through Marjory to connect all those bricks together from a process standpoint. It will be a good means to improve your seller onboarding process, to automate, for example, all what is related to KYC, KYB updates. Also to make your marketplace stack interact with manual tasks within your organization. You will be able to manage notification in case of incidents. Also multi-PSP or PSP switch, as we mentioned it before, or a new service implementation such as payment terms, invoice, or so on. So with Marjory, it will be easier, faster, and you will be able to benefit from existing processes on application which have been already designed in the SaaS platform. Okay, so a quick review of the question you asked during the meeting. So before discovering your question, because there are many questions, let me ask a question to François. So François, you successfully launched Classeo. If you would do this again, what would you have done differently? It's a tricky question. I know.
Well, I mean, if I could do it again, I would know a bit better the market and the legal difficulties that I faced before. So maybe I would not have had 3 PSP, and because I spent a lot of time about the legality of the financial streams and to find the right balance with the flexibility and the cost for the PSP. So, for example, I probably would have gone directly to Digiteal if it was available. And so, and I guess about the market as well, it's have a much better idea of what my customer needs now than I had in the beginning, when you only have one customer. Even if he is a professional for many, many years, it's only one fraction of what the other photographers will probably need. So it's really restrains your point of view.
Okay, so very, very interesting. So maybe a question for Cédric. You tell a few words about your Digiteal unique selling proposition, but how does Digiteal compare to other marketplace PSP?
Well, as we said, Digiteal is a solution that is tailor made for marketplaces, or has a specific offering for marketplaces. So many PSPs provide e-commerce solutions, few can provide marketplace payments, and the way we deliver it is quite unique. Most marketplace payment solutions rely on wallets, and so instead of here we saw the campaign, instead of having this done at a transaction level where we will really map each of the payments and know where they're heading, Digiteal has this knowledge because that's the way it was designed. Most of the others design this as wallets, just like you would imagine accounts or temporary accounts where the money will be stored, waiting for it to go someplace else. When you're operating this way, the marketplace knows what is the logic behind each of those wallets, but the PSP doesn't anymore, and so the funds are, I would say, stuck in limbo. We don't really know, as a payment service operator, who owns those funds. They're just somewhere in the middle, and this doesn't give a lot of visibility in terms of what is the legality of the marketplace, how is it operating, why are those transfers being made. All of this is very visible with Digiteal. So that's how it's operating, and the other advantages are linked to the fact that we are very much basing our solution on European standards, meaning that we try to lower the costs with payment initiation, with lower transaction fee associated with the payment methods. And finally, as we explained, the gross settlement. This is another, I think, a good selling point for Digiteal, and the fact that we can settle per transaction. So meaning that, as you saw, we don't do bulk payout. We can also do individual payouts whenever it's needed, with exactly the right level of the right communication associated with each of those payments, which really helps the reconciliation and for the accountants of the schools, the photographers, and Classeo to understand what's going on and why those payments happened. So,
okay, so thank you, Cédric. So there is a question for François, because we have mentioned hidden costs in the marketplace project. From what you experience, François, have you encountered any hidden costs once you launch your marketplace, Classeo?
Yeah, I think one of the big costs that hurt us in the beginning was the reconciliation, the financial reconciliation. And so with different PSP, we really had to, every year we had to come back to all of the financial streams. And it was very complicated with the accountant to match all of the all of the payments together with the invoices. So that was quite painful. And but yeah, it's much clearer now that we have a different PSP. I would say also, like, the onboarding was quite. So in the beginning, we were doing some manual onboarding, but yeah, now that we have automated this process, it's much more, it's much faster, and it's yeah, it's also much more simple.
Okay, so thank you. So there is a question for me. So what are the main advantages to use an automation solution like Marjory? What is very important to understand is that, as François and Cédric explained, you have to be able to switch from one service to another alongside your marketplace lifecycle, and you have to be able to make, for example, your PSP speak with your back office marketplace. So Marjory, this is typically our unique selling proposition. We can help you to make, for example, your PSP speaks with your back office. So, for example, you can be able through Marjory to know that you have received an order in your marketplace back office, and that this order has been validated by the seller, so the order is ready to be paid. So Marjory could easily retrieve the notification and launch the payment process through PSP, whatever the PSP you choose to implement. So this is something very, very important to have in mind. And Marjory is also a very an interesting tool to use to design your marketplace process, because that is something you have to do in your marketplace project if you want to be fully aligned with your market expectations.
We have a question from Thomas. So do you have an interface to manage the sellers? So, for example, to manage and adapt the percentage of the commission fees? I suppose this is for François. How do you manage sellers?
It would be for Marjory.
Oh, yeah, it might be. But do you have an interface for sellers, François?
I mean, myself, yeah, it's like it's on the back office. So it's yes, I mean, we can change the percentage of the commission, of course, but I think it's more a question for Marjory if they have something to change maybe the percentage.
Okay, so as I explained, Marjory is a kind of middleman. Marjory is not a marketplace back office. It's not a front. It's not a middle. It's an automation platform which is going to make all those components, okay, all those technologies, Slack, speak together. The people who use Marjory in a project is the people within the business, the marketplace department, or within the IT team is going to use Marjory to to monitor all the workflow between all those components. So through Marjory, we are able to allow every marketplace operator to manage the sellers if they want, and also to optimize, and François, you mentioned that, all the process onboarding and to automate the process onboarding. Because if the process onboarding is not properly automated, it could be very time consuming. The same thing for the financial reconciliation. And this is where are the hidden costs we mentioned in the presentation. Sometimes we have in mind that the hidden costs are in the build phase of the marketplace project, but mainly they rely on the run phase. And the problem is that you discover those hidden costs only once you are live. So if you work closely with Marjory, you will be able to anticipate those kind of issues.
And I would like to add as well for the onboarding, there is a hidden cost that we discovered. It's if it's not completely smooth, the onboarding process, you might just lose clients. So if it's like if you don't have like a payment system, if there is like a bump on the road of the onboarding, maybe your client, your prospect who was motivated to sign in and to pay, then he doesn't manage to do it for some reason, and then you're losing it, and then he's not paying, and maybe he's gonna choose another solution.
Okay. Yes, that's why it's very important to have a well-conceived process and to operate it very smoothly. Otherwise, there is a risk to lose your customers. So it won't make your marketplace very profitable if so. Last question we can take from is how do Marjory handle the API versioning of the different providers? So in Marjory, we've got an application store. So Digiteal is one of application in our application store, and our team work closely with the service provider to anticipate the API evolution on API change, and we, as Marjory, take the responsibility to manage those API versioning. So if you connect your marketplace through Marjory, we will take in charge all the API updates, and it will not impact your marketplace, because too often in marketplace project, as you have several services connected through API, if one of your service provider update or make a big API change, it could impact your marketplace and your business, of course, because if you are not able to process order or process payments, of course, you will lose money. So that's why Marjory could be a good partner to manage those kind of issues.
I can maybe add something as a service provider. So there are different types of API changes.
Yes.
There are breaking API changes. You shouldn't do those. So if those happen, change service provider. If then there are evolutions of the API that give new capabilities, and it's not just a matter of using the latest version so that you're not on a deprecated version of the APIs. It's also about benefiting of the new functionalities provided by the new APIs. That's why there's a new version often. And by having a process view on what you're doing, a process view can be provided by Marjory, that is driven by the business needs and that you can really focus on. You can take advantage of that in a more simple way than if you would just see this as a technical project to upgrade and use the latest API of your provider. So I see this as an opportunity for the marketplace to use a better functionality provided by their providers, and making in the end a better solution for their customers.
Okay, so thank you, Cédric. Thank you, François. So now it's time to end. We have to abide by the the timeline. Thank you very much for your commitment. I hope you benefit from this webinar. We will send you a link to access to the webinar recording just after closing this webinar session, and we will on Marjory website try to answer to the question we unfortunately haven't enough time to answer to. So thank you again for your commitment, and talk to you later for a next webinar. Goodbye. Thank you, François. Thank you, Cédric.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
Bye.